And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. And I have a very special guest that's joining us today. We're excited to welcome Starr Loutsis to our program today. Starr is going to be talking with us about her book, The Purpose of Anger. You guys can see it there. We're going to talk to her not only about the writing of the book, but also how it really is an interactive experience for all of you. One of the things you'll notice, too, with this conversation is that Starr has not only been able to share her love, I think, of words with the world through her poetry, but also allows us to be able to share our own thoughts as well. We'll talk to Starr not only about what it's been like for her to reshape the word anger and the way we think about it, but also what she hopes you're able to take away from the book. Starr, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So I want to begin with this because I love the fact when you and I first connected, and of course, when we set up this chat for Amazon Live, I did not know what to expect when I got into your book. So I went over to Amazon, bought the book. And what I love about the book right away is that one of the things you do when I first saw the title, The Purpose of Anger, a lot of times, as you allude to in the book, a lot of times we have a negative connotation when it comes to the word anger. What has it been like for you, Starr, to kind of rethink the way we look at that word?
Yeah, I know that for myself, like growing up, I was never able to feel anger, right? It was always just looked out as, we don't feel that emotion. We don't talk that emotion. There's something wrong with you. It's just like bad. And then growing up, it was like, well, I feel like there's a healthiness to it, because it does teach us where we need to heal, where our wounds are, how we don't feel safe. And so being able to like team up with our anger really will help us, or it has, helped me to be able to have better relationships and just even to understand myself more and notice, okay, if I'm feeling angry in this situation, what's going on? Am I feeling violated in some way? Is something kind of happening? And like learning how to understand that and talk through that versus just stuffing it inside and then like blowing up,
Yeah. And what I love about that too, Starr, is that I think a lot of times when people think about emotions, any emotions really, a lot of times they don't feel as though their emotions are being validated, that what they're experiencing is being acknowledged. So when I got into the book and started reading your words and then thinking about the writing prompts, we're going to get into those a little bit later, I thought about, this is a way of people being able to, one, to acknowledge what they're feeling, what led them to feel the way they are, and then the question becomes, what are you going to do on the other side of it? You even say on the back of the book, Starr, and I want to share this with our audience, you say, we stuff deep down inside our bodies, pushing out the inevitable blowout. Anger doesn't have to lead to destruction and disconnection. It can lead us toward healing and provide us with avenues on how to allow ourselves to be treated better. So how did you get to that place, Starr, when you realized that you could harness anger and use it to your benefit?
Yeah, I think just like noticing, like becoming aware of, just different relationships sort of like ending, different like work situations, not ending up the way that I would feel like they should kind of, that would necessarily represent the type of person that I want to be. And then kind of like taking note of that and just being like, okay, so this is where I was feeling this, and this is how it kind of turned out. And then realizing, okay, if I would have perhaps, come at it from this angle or understood their point of view from here, and then like learned how to better have that conversation, things might have ended up, differently. So I think it's just really starting out with that awareness piece and being able to sit with that.
And it's such an important thing for all of us. I want to say, for those who are tuning in, I see you guys coming in on the Amazon Live side. Feel free, if you guys have not done so already, do two things for us. One, make sure you guys smash that follow button. You'll notice it either in this corner or down below. That'll keep you updated on all of our programming here 7 days a week here on Amazon. As well as make sure you guys look below in the carousel. There you'll find Starr's book. I bought my copy there. You'll notice it highlighted right now in the featured section on the Amazon Live side. Also, for those tuning in on other platforms, the chat is open. Feel free to be able to share your own thoughts and even any questions that you may have on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. We will make sure that we get those highlighted as well. So, Starr, let's go back. When did you first realize the power of words for yourself? Because what I love is that your poetry is so beautiful, it's so thoughtful, and it really, I think, connects with people in a really personal way. When did you realize the power of words for yourself?
When I was 17, I would write a lot and just would just sort of like journal. And this book is actually dedicated to my 17-year-old self,
Mhm.
who was very angry and had zero outlets, no way of communicating, or, really no outlets, basically. And so I remember being 17 and writing, and I had a really good friend one time who looked through like my journal, which I know you don't do, but she ended up doing it. And she was like, wow, this is like really, really good. And we were both just like angry teens. And so from there, I realized, okay, I think I might be good at writing. And whenever I would write a paper for school, I would always get really high grades on it. And so that just sort of became something that I knew that I was good at and I enjoyed doing. And so I just sort of kept doing it.
Did you feel like a book was in some form inevitable for you, Star? Because what I love, and I'm going to actually show this here in a bit, what I
Mhm.
love is that there's a great marriage that takes place in this book of your words. There's an image that's there, as well as, of course, an opportunity for people to kind of join you in the
Mhm.
journey in writing their own prompts. Did you always know that a book was something you wanted to write in some form or fashion?
Yeah, I felt like I was going to write a book at some point. I traveled the world. I took a year off one year and just traveled around. And I think my assumption was, and I think people also thought, oh, she'll probably like write a book about like her travels.
Mhm.
And I started this book very small. I had like mentioned it to like a friend and was like, I think I want to write this like poetry book on anger because nobody ever talks about anger and I'm just angry all the time. And it just sort of became one of those things that you just like think about or, vaguely mention. And then I ended up going to this like entrepreneurship summit. And they were really encouraging people to write a book, like what book is inside of you, write that. And it was like, oh, wow, like I already have this book. I just need to kind of like add to it and like, put it together. And so that's kind of how it came alive.
One of my favorite pieces in the book, and it's found on page 42. And I'm going to actually show people what it looks like there, Star. So you're able to see Star's poetry there, and as I mentioned, there's the image. But this is part of what you say in this particular one. I try not to feel the anger. I try to avoid it at all costs. Breathe in, disappear has been my mantra. Ignore the pain, wipe off the frustration. What good is anger? I've seen the rage. I've felt the destruction. To numb out anger is to numb out emotion. But to feel anger, is there a useful solution? Perhaps to see what I need and to know I deserve better. Talk to us about that because I love the questioning, right? I think we all do
Mhm.
that to ourselves, right? Should I do this? Should I not do this? What's the alternative? What's going to happen if I do this? What has it been like for you to kind of have that back and forth with yourself about not only the purpose of anger, but also the purpose of things in life?
Yeah, I think I have like a pretty traumatic background growing up as a child. And so what I learned how to feel the most safe was to just hide inside myself, that there was no safety outside of me. And really, I was the only one that could protect myself. And that served me for so long. It kept me alive. It allowed me to do different things. But what it really kept me from is having actual real connections with people, where I would always have like a wall, and I would just be very mistrusting of anyone. And so I have to learn that, yes, like that once served me, that to be that protected, to push everything out. Um, but I have to like grow, and I have to want to be able to have good relationships. And so with that, we have to have those conversations of like, okay, I'm angry. I can't just like push out, right? Like I need to walk through this, and need to be able to get to that place where I can ask others to walk through it with me. Um, and what that is going to lead to is it's going to lead to a better, beautiful life and experience, right? Where we can grow together. versus just being angry and then pushing everything out. And then it's like, okay, cool, another relationship lost, you know?
Yeah.
But that's not how I want to live my life anymore.
That's right. And what a great point. And I think, too, again, that decision, right, of even when things have happened to us, what we choose to do moving forward and
Mhm.
how empowering it is to be able to take that power back and decide for ourselves instead of letting someone else decide for us. I want to say for
Mhm.
those who are just joining us, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. We also streaming on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, as well as LinkedIn. We're joined today by Starr Marie Loutsis. We're talking to Starr not only about her book, The Purpose of Anger. You guys can see it there, but also what it's been like for her to share her love of words with the world. I'm going to now show them some of the prompts, and we kind of talk about that a little bit. I want to say for those joining us on the Amazon Live side, we do have the book featured right now on the carousel. You guys can click below to be able to start looking at the book for yourself and also to order your own copy of it. But I want to just talk about some of these prompts, and you have them kind of registered with days, Starr.
Mhm.
Some of the ones that stood up to me on page 60, day 12. What do you have control of in a situation where you are angry? And then you have this: are you able to step away, think before releasing, or evaluate an action to avoid damaging something you might regret later on? Talk to us about these prompts, because I love the fact that, again, as you're sharing part of yourself with us in the
Mhm.
poetry, you also allow us to be able to kind of talk out for ourselves, start what we're feeling, why we're feeling it, and what happens with those feelings. Talk to us about how that came about.
Yeah, I didn't have an outlet growing up. There was no healthy space for me to talk about my anger. It was always, there's something wrong with me. I'm the problem. You know, I need to submit more, whatever. And so really this book is for other people. I feel like my purpose is to like help encourage and like build up other people. And I really just also want to like have that connection. You know, this is also like a lifestyle that I'm going for, is to be able to heal myself, to be able to connect with others so that we can all grow. And so I feel like those journal prompt questions allow for that, right? Where it's like, this is me talking now, and then sharing, how can you connect with this? How does this resonate with you? How can you grow from this? And then hopefully being able to have, generations of people that can actually have conversations about anger. When we're angry, we know, what do we need in this moment? How do we work through this? Versus just allowing bad things to happen and stuffing it inside, and then ultimately there's just right. I heard this thing one time where somebody had shared that if we don't acknowledge the things that are happening, we just kind of keep like a file folder, right? Oh, this person hurt me this again, and then it gets so thick, and then it's like we can't talk about it, right? There's too many things. And so I think it starts with our own healing, and by that awareness piece being, understanding ourselves, to then have that desire to then want to connect and grow with other people. So the journal prompts are really just, I think they make the book. I think like that's the whole purpose of it, is like let's grow, let's talk about it, let's, become better people.
Yeah. Hello to you, Lawana. We appreciate you joining us on the Facebook side there. Another one that I thought was really interesting, Star, was day 15, found on page 74 of the
Okay.
book. I love this. In what ways can you prepare yourself prior to intense situations that may lead to feeling angry? And you know what? I think this is a really good one too. I have in my family, I would say aggression
Mm.
was something that I had family members that that had issues with, and it's interesting. My sister and I, we've talked about how we both have dealt with that ourselves in our own adult lives. Right?
Hmm.
She ended up joining the Air Force.
Okay.
That was a great outlet for her. I became a writer, and I do this. So, so everyone has their way. But why
Yeah.
is it important for us to think about that, to ask ourselves those questions of how we can prepare? Because we do know
Mm.
things are going to happen, right?
Yes.
I mean, we look at the world today, which is, there's so many things that can make us angry, which is why this conversation I think is so timely.
Yeah.
Star, there's so many things that we look around and we think these things should not be happening. But how can we prepare ourselves so we don't become overwhelmed by them?
Yeah, I love this question. Thank you for bringing it up. And I think this is going to be like one of the most powerful things that we can do for ourselves is to really understand, okay, what things, because we have expectations, right? We kind of go into situations sometimes and we want this to happen or we want this to happen. And what I'm learning is we have to like sort of take away those expectations and we just have to like let people be people and let situations be situations. Um, but then also being aware, like, let's say if you get really angry in traffic, for instance, right? Like, I think that's like a big thing. Then, like, preparing yourself, be like, okay, I'm running 10 minutes late and I know there's going to be traffic and I'm just going to be so pissed. And to literally like take 3 breaths and to be like, I'm going to understand that this is going to be a frustrating situation. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to be late. That's just what it is. And then kind of go from there. And I think like the little teeny baby steps that we take, it's going to end up to like being really big steps where then maybe, you know, next year you're like, wow, I was just in this huge traffic jam. I'm like an hour and a half late somewhere and I was chill. You know, it didn't really faze me that much. But it
Yeah.
takes those little baby steps to remind yourself when you're going to work, when you're going, you know, out somewhere, oh man, I'm late, you know, or preparing yourself and being like, I hate being late. I hate sitting in traffic. What can I do to make sure that I leave early? Right. So instead of just like living life and just being like, oh, I'm late again, or oh, I'm in traffic again, you know, just that awareness piece, right? Of like, what do I need? And allow yourself to have that.
Love that. Alexis, I want to say, or Alex, maybe it's Alexi. I always get that wrong, Alexi, I think. Alexi, thank you so much for the follow on the Amazon live set. And I think it was Alexi that connected me to you, Starr.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so I want to ask you, though, about connection for sure. Luana brings up a good point. And you and I had talked about the connection with mental health awareness before we went on here. And Luana says, such a powerful discussion, especially with the current focus around mental health awareness. And that is so true, Luana. And in fact, Starr and I would talk about that before we went live on Amazon about how perfect this book and this conversation is. One more I want to mention that I'm going to talk about the importance of friendship as well. Starr,
Mm-hmm.
day 21. I thought this was a really good one. This is found on page 100. What are your favorite ways to move your body when your body is full of intense emotions? I love this because it ties in similar with what you were just saying about if you are stuck in traffic or you're in a
Mm-hmm.
situation where things are getting a little cray cray.
Mm-hmm.
What has that been like for you to find those ways you can be able to relieve that anger through movement?
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I have a dog, and he has got like high energy, so he likes to be outside. And so one thing that I've really been practicing is like, okay, when I wake up in the morning to like go on long walks, and to not just get bombarded with my to-do list and like different things like that, but to just like allow myself to have space in the morning to then go to the walk. And I'm very blessed. I live near a lake, and there's like a trail around the lake. So I get to have times where I can just literally go and just walk and like meditate, listen to music, or just like be in silence. And that really just helps like set my day. And then it's also nice too for like in the middle of the day, right? To just like go on walks. So I like to prepare myself, right? Before I'm angry, to go on a walk, right? To know if I'm going to be in sort of like an intense situation coming up, to go for a walk. And I also feel like hikes are really, really great too, right? It gets you totally out of your zone, your element, you're away, and you're just like out in nature. So those are my favorites. And I do also have like a little gym in my apartment that I should probably go to more. But though that is also helpful, you know, like lifting some like really heavy weight and you're just like pushing it out, like just getting stuff out of your body, is really helpful. And I think sometimes, I know for myself, right, like sometimes I want to, when I get like really intense emotions, I want to just sleep, you know, I just want to be still, I just want to be away. But that's actually not good for my body, you know. Sometimes, yes, we
Yeah.
need to rest, definitely.
Right.
But I've actually noticed that it is better when I get up and I go outside for a walk or I go do something interactive, versus just basically letting it consume inside my body.
Love that. Luana mirrors what you're saying by saying pausing, identifying, and recognizing your emotions and the triggers that can cause you to go into a state of unrest is so important to
Mhm.
recreate and regain harmony within. It's so true. Support system is a big part of this. And Alexi, I wanted to make sure I brought that up in connection with Alexi following us on the Amazon side here. How important has that been for you? I know for myself, it's been key to surround yourself with people that are
Mm.
not yes people. I get irritated by yes people,
Right.
but people who can support you but be real with you. How has that helped you in maintaining that balance, Star?
It's needed. It's definitely needed. I need somebody to tell me no, or to tell me that doesn't make sense, or
Yeah.
to tell me like, let's have a conversation about that.
Hmm.
Because that's how you also grow, right? And like you were saying, you don't want to be around a bunch of yes people who it's just like yes, 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 and then it's like, okay, now we're in like this crazy situation because nobody said no.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And I've been there. And that's
yeah.
why it's like I'm like, okay, how did y'all think that was a great idea? And they're like, we didn't. Well, what do you tell me? It wasn't a great. I mean, it's such an interesting thing, but I think it goes to reason why I'm so glad we're having this conversation, Star, is because I think these are conversations, as Luana said, they're needed. So, what
Mhm.
has it been like for you to hear from people already about the book? Like I said, I got the book, I benefited from it. I've already written my review on Amazon. Encourage anyone
Oh,
else that's
thanks.
already gotten the book. Make sure you guys write your review. But what has it been like for you to hear people's response to your personal journey and to what the book meant to them?
It's been very empowering. I've had some people say, "Where was this book when I was growing up?" Or like what LaWanda was saying is like, "Oh, this is so needed." So I hear that pretty often. I'm also very artistic and creative, and so the book is very like appealing to like your eyes,
Hmm.
where you want to kind of really just like dive in and go into it. And then because I really like open up and get pretty deep with it in a way that's like connectable through through a book. I think it also invites other people to do the same. So it's a book that if you're open to the conversation of anger and you really want to understand why you get so angry, why different relationships aren't working out, why working situations aren't working out, I think I would say, yeah, pick it up and go through it.
Yeah. Last thing I want to share from the book, Start. I'm so glad again that we could have you on. It's found on page 80, and it's a really powerful poem here. I'm going to start off actually in the middle part, but you start this particular poem off by saying, "My little girl self learned that anger was a negative behavior." But you
Mm,
go on to say, "I am responsible for myself, my behaviors, and my responses. My little girl self wasn't allowed space to voice those damages done wrong to her. She was constantly muffled in order to accommodate to others. My body leaps back in time to collect scenarios and build a case that this too is unsafe." And then you say this: "I can take a deep breath, sit down beside her, and listen as tears stream down her face. I can
mm,
observe the current situation, viewing perspectives from all sides involved. I can voice my concerns with other viewpoints in mind. If no solutions arise, I can peacefully remove myself from the mistreatment. I create the path I want to live."
mm,
So when you think about those words, which are so, I think they're inspiring and empowering,
mm.
what do you want for our audience, Star, as they're going throughout the book, The Purpose of Anger, and also following your journey? What do you want them to know about what's possible for them?
That growth is possible, that healing is possible, that you can have what you desire and what you want. And oftentimes when we're kids, we experience really hard things that grow, that, come with us as we're an adult. And to really just like sit with those pains and understand them and listen to them and not try to shut them out. Um, and then allow them to grow and then allow yourself to grow. Sometimes it feels really weird, to be like, to have to like feel emotion. And that's something that, I'm still learning and growing in. But I know that every single time I like push through, um, it feels so much better and I feel more connected with myself and I feel more connected the more that I can be more connected with other people through that.
That's such a great thing. Again, everyone, Star Marie Loutsis has been our guest. The book is called The Purpose of Anger. You guys can see it there. Again, if you guys are joining us on the Amazon Live side, all you have to do is click below. You can be able to get it for yourself, whether you're joining us live or the replay. As I mentioned, I've already wrote my review. You guys can find it there on Amazon. So when you guys click on, you'll be able to see the reviews there. You can be able to see my review there as well as others. And make sure you guys, after you read the book, make sure you guys are letting Starr know what you think about the book as well. Starr, really appreciate you being bold and brave enough to share your truth with the world. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Yeah, I actually created an excerpt for people. It's going to have 3 of the pages on there. So if you want to go and just kind of get like a little sneak peek, you can print them out. It has poems. It has the pictures that go along with the poems. And then it also has a little journal prompt as well. So that is, I don't know if you can see it. It's like a bit.ly link. So bit.ly, FREE, and then the number 3, and then PAGES, so all lowercase. And you can go there, and I'll basically email you 3 of the pages. And yeah, I think you'll love it. I think this can be so useful to so many people, to so many environments. If you have like friends group, book studies, if you're around any sort of kids. I wrote this for my 17-year-old self, so it's written in a way for everybody. It's not, too like what do you say that, like clinical or anything like that. It's just very, very relatable. And then right now on Instagram, if you want to follow me, it's I am Starr 87. I'm in the middle of 100 days of poems where I'm writing a poem every single day and then posting it. So if you like my work, if you love poetry and want to follow me, go ahead and follow me on Instagram.
All right, make sure you guys do that. Starr, I'm going to go off camera for a second because I want you to be able to show that again. And so I want them to be able to see the full. So I'm going to go ahead and go off so it can give you an opportunity to go back over the site again, okay?
Okay. Let's see. There you go. bit.ly/FREE, the number 3, PAGES.
And we'll make sure that we link that up as well, Starr, for those joining us on the other platforms as well. Starr, congratulations to you again. LaWanna says great interview. And I think, these things have to be talked about. And I think in the world we're living in today, these conversations could not be more timely. So thank you for using your gift to open up the door, to create a safe space for us to talk about things like anger and ways to deal with it in a productive way. And also, I think, what we can do in learning about ourselves in the process, and looking forward to our next chat together, Starr.
Thanks. It's been so great meeting you, Cyrus. I'll see you soon for sure.
Definitely. We'll see you for sure. And we thank you all for watching this episode of Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live, as well as on our other platforms. LaWanna, I want to read the full comment there. LaWanna says, childhood PTSD is so real. As a child, we don't have the tools to cope, and we end up repressing the hurt and the foreign emotions that we are feeling. I think that is so true. And Yvonne, thank you so much for watching as well. Yvonne Pierre says, as always, great interview. Congratulations. Yes, Starr has written a really great book, guys. If you guys have not gotten it, I really enjoyed it myself. I went into it not knowing what to expect, but I was so pleasantly surprised and excited about it. And again, especially like I said, with events in the world right now where so many people are kind of heightening their emotions, this is a way of being able to recognize those emotions, as well as, of course, think about a positive outlet for those emotions, to recognize it, and then, of course, to be able to act in a way that can do good and not do harm. I want to say this segment is being brought to you guys by BiteCool. It's a great laptop for streaming if you guys do live streaming like what I do, or if you guys are gamers. BiteCool is a really cool option for you guys that is really affordable. Amazon actually has this computer right now on sale. This is the Windows 10 Pro from BiteCool. It's on sale for $279 right now. I have it highlighted on the Amazon Live side there. But again, if you guys are into gaming, streaming, that kind of thing, it's really easy to travel with, which is another reason why I like it. I don't have to worry about the overheating problems that sometimes happen with other laptops. But it is a great option for you guys. So keep that in mind if you guys are looking for a laptop. Definitely check out this one by BiteCool. Also, I want to remind you one last time to make sure you guys do get Starr's book. Again, The Purpose of Anger, a great book. And again, I meant what I said. Once you guys read the book and go through the book, make sure you guys do head over. Make sure you guys share your thoughts with Starr and let her know what you think about the book as well. Thank you all for being with us for this episode of Cyrus Webb Presents. We're back with you guys soon with another great episode. Until then, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.